When two of the world's most powerful and rapidly growing nations face off, the world watches closely. India and China, both economic giants and military powers, are locked in a complex, high-stakes relationship. From border clashes to strategic rivalries, their ties have profound implications for Asia and the globe. In this video, we dive into the historical tensions, economic juggernauts, and power struggles that define the relationship between India and China today. So, let's break it down. Fast, intense, and full of drama. 1. Ancient ties, modern tensions. Let's rewind. India and China have a shared history that dates back thousands of years. The spread of Buddhism from India to China forged early ties, and the two civilizations influenced each other culturally. But fast forward to the 20th century, and things take a sharp turn. In 1949, China became a communist powerhouse, and India gained independence in 1947. That's where things started to get complicated. 1962, the moment that reshaped their relationship. The Sino-Indian War. A brutal military conflict over border disputes that would linger for decades. A bloody conflict that ended with China asserting control over Aksai Chin, a region India still claims as its own. The scar from that war hasn't healed, and it's still felt today in every standoff, every border skirmish. Second, economic titans with friction. On the surface, India and China are major economic partners, but beneath the surface lies a more competitive dynamic. In recent years, China has become India's largest trading partner, but the relationship is one-sided. India imports more from China than it exports: electronics, machinery, pharmaceuticals. China's goods flood Indian markets. The question remains, how much should India rely on China? Despite a huge trade deficit, India and China share some crucial economic interests. Both nations have massive growing middle classes, hungry for goods and services. But as India seeks to become a global manufacturing hub, the rise of Chinese influence in India's neighbors, like Pakistan, becomes a major strategic concern. 3. The border, a powder keg. Let's talk about the biggest flashpoint, the border. The line of actual control, LAC, is a line that neither side has clearly defined, and this ambiguity is a recipe for disaster. The Doklam standoff in 2017, where Indian and Chinese forces were on the brink of open conflict, was a wake-up call. But things reached a boiling point in 2020. Galwan Valley. 20 Indian soldiers dead. Countless Chinese casualties. And the reality? No one won. This wasn't just another border scuffle. This was the deadliest clash between the two nations in over 40 years. Since then, the tension has been high, with military talks happening behind closed doors and a fragile ceasefire holding the line. But we all know the real question. What happens next? The Tibet factor, a diplomatic flashpoint. And then there's Tibet, a territory that has become a constant thorn in the side of India-China relations. Since China's invasion of Tibet in 1950, India has been a host to the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile. China views this as a direct challenge to its sovereignty. For India, supporting Tibet is more than a moral stance. It's a matter of regional security. When tensions rise in Tibet, India is caught between its diplomatic ties with China and its humanitarian values. This delicate balancing act is just one of the diplomatic headaches India faces with China. 5. The Indo-Pacific, the strategic battleground. Now, let's take it to the Indo-Pacific, the region that's quickly becoming the center of global power. China's growing assertiveness in the South China Sea, where it claims vast portions of the waters, has raised alarms across the region. For India, this is personal. It controls key maritime routes in the Indian Ocean and needs to safeguard its interests against China's growing military presence. India isn't just sitting back. Enter the Quad, the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, consisting of India, the US, Japan, and Australia. This is India's way of telling China, we're not backing down. The Quad has military exercises, diplomatic agreements, and a shared commitment to a rules-based Indo-Pacific order. The growing strategic partnership between these nations sends a clear message to China. India won't let Beijing dominate the region unchallenged. 6. The battle for influence in South Asia. The battle for influence in South Asia is another key area of competition. While India's historical influence over its neighbors is undeniable, China is challenging that dominance through initiatives like the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPSE. China's massive infrastructure projects in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Nepal are part of a broader strategy to strengthen its hold in India's backyard. This has created major concerns for India's security. Pakistan remains an adversary, and the growing alliance between China and Pakistan is an uncomfortable reality for India. Will China's economic muscle give it an upper hand in South Asia, or will India's regional influence remain unchallenged? 7. Cooperation amidst the rivalry. Even with all the tensions, India and China have found ways to cooperate. The BRICS group, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, is one area where both nations put aside differences and focus on economic collaboration, particularly in promoting development in the Global South. They also work together in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, where they focus on security issues, counterterrorism, and regional cooperation. But even here, the undercurrents of competition are hard to ignore. 8. What's next? A new era of rivalry or cooperation? So, what does the future hold for India-China relations? On one hand, there are opportunities: trade, climate change cooperation, and collaboration on global challenges. But on the other hand, the competition over regional power, military dominance, and global influence will continue to drive a wedge between the two nations. Both sides will have to manage strategic tensions, avoid military escalation, and navigate the evolving geopolitical landscape in Asia. But make no mistake, India and China are not backing down. They're both on the rise, both have global ambitions, and the world will be watching every move they make. Conclusion: India and China are two of the world's most powerful forces. Their relationship is a blend of fierce rivalry, cautious diplomacy, and sometimes uneasy cooperation. With economic growth, military strength, and strategic interests on the line, this relationship is anything but straightforward. As these two giants continue to compete and collaborate, the stakes are high for Asia, for the world, and for the future of global power dynamics. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on more in-depth analysis. And if you have any thoughts or questions, drop them in the comments below. See you in the next one.